This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 385. Fox Pass.
Faux.
Off-roading mistakes.
Tonight, Aaron takes some headshots, Jeremy buys smaller tires, and Ben can't make it out.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are A.A. Ron, Jeremy, and my name is Ben, and welcome to the show.
Just got a warning that we might not be streaming to Twitch right now. Our one Twitch streamer isn't going to be able to see this feed.
Oh, man.
That's a problem.
But they're working to resolve it as we speak.
Yeah, they'll keep trying.
That's the kind of clout that we have.
Yep.
Dedicated team.
Yes.
They put our normal guy on it.
He's a special.
Well, I'm gonna just jump right in here and say that Jeremy said Aaron takes some headshots. So that was plural. Headshots is plural. I only got to take one shot, baby. That's all it takes.
One and done?
One and done.
Aaron's very camera. That wouldn't be camera phobic. That would be the camera loves him, baby.
I shot my elk this past weekend. Got a nice cow elk. I'll show some pictures in a bit, but yeah,
legal, right?
It is legal. It was not a spike this year, so got my cow elk. So here's how it went. I snuck out. Here's so on the screen you can see. I'm going to share a series of photos. I snuck out before the sun came up, and a buddy was letting me borrow his night vision so I could see. And right here on the screen you can see like 5 elk, and they're all bull elk, not spikes, but big old antler bull elk. And I'm like, where are the cows? They were just kind of around the corner. Here's another shot. The sun was starting to come up. You can barely see. And it's still all bulls. And there's about 10 of them in this photo now. And then the sun came up a little bit more. And bam, look at all those elk in my field.
Wow. If you go back to that first picture, I seriously thought it was a picture of a planet when you first put it up.
Because of that ring. Well, it's hard to hold. It's hard to try to be super quiet because there's elk 100 feet away and take a picture through night vision at the elk. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I had to wait actually longer than I learned a hunting lesson this year. Here, hang on one second. Here's my rifle I shot it with. So on the scope of my rifle, I've got a sunshade, which is great for blocking the glare, keeping it out of your scope, because I do a lot of summertime shooting. Well, it also prevents a lot of light from entering your scope. And so I had to wait till it was a lot brighter than I needed to take the shot, because I could not see through the scope to know if what I was going to hit was a boy or a girl, and I didn't want to make that mistake 2 years in a row. So
yeah, I feel like the fish and game officer that came out would be a little less lenient if it happened 2 years in a row.
Correct. Yeah, I'd be like, but it was my sunshade's fault this time. Yeah. So you're muted, Ben.
So are you going to remedy that for next year and have your sunshade off before you?
I will. Yeah. So I could have taken it off in the field, but listen.
I mean, with how hard that was to get off, that could definitely mess up your sights just enough.
From the photo
now, but it squeals really loud.
Yeah, I could hear it. From the photo, I feel like you could have just walked a little bit farther into your house, taken it off, and came back, right? I mean, I assume you were shooting out of your bedroom window.
No, that was almost to my lower field, so that was about 200 yards from my house. Yeah. So here's a shot of my elk down. Looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in that picture. He's got a little shiny nose. And then my brother-in-law got an elk also. So here's the two elks together. His is hanging and mine's on the ground waiting to get gutted out. So
did you just like shoot at the same time?
no, he waited to shoot until after I got mine. He was being very considerate of me since he's taken an elk almost every year, and this is my first time getting an elk that I could keep. So
you shot yours and they didn't quite leave the property?
So I shot mine, and then all of them bunched up into a big old circle, and then they slowly kind of turned into a conga line of elk and just kind of slowly worked the way across my property and gave him enough time to get a shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is
not smart.
The boy gonna try and get one next year now?
No, I think it'll be a couple more years before we can do that. But I realized tonight that Carrie can get what's called a damage tag, and Carrie could shoot an elk this year also. So not out of the question. Maybe the first of the year. We'll wait till next year, quote unquote, next year, and we'll get one maybe in January or something, just to add some more meat to the freezer or something. I don't know.
Nice.
I just want to know, where's our invitation?
Well, it's a pretty private hunting property. It's pretty exclusive down here. Pretty exclusive. So no, you'd have to be an Oregon resident to get that kind of a tag. I don't think you can get an out-of-state hunting tag to shoot a damage tag.
Oh, darn.
So, yeah, because this isn't like a regular season kind of thing. This is after the season's all over. The landowners can hunt on their property, and the damage tags, which are only available in certain areas if there's overpopulation and the elk are damaging farm property, which they definitely do.
So what I'm hearing is all I need to do is get a normal tag, and I can come out during the season, and you can be my spotter.
The problem is they aren't out here until this time of the year. They don't come down until it's cold, and the elk season is only, I want to say the elk season is only like 10 days long in our area. It's really short, and
it's pretty short on our side too.
Yeah. So, and they're up in the mountains. They don't come down to our elevation. We're only at like 250 feet. So they don't come down till it's cold. So as soon as I shot the elk, I had a friend come over. We butchered it all up, vacuum sealed it, put it all in the freezer. And then I jumped back on my Nissan on the Frontier. I'm going to have to think of some, like it's going to have to be called the Frighten or something like that, because it's almost going to be more Titan than Frontier. So Bubba says he's got that same tag. His starts January 1st, though. Yeah, so I had mentioned last week that I was working on test fitting those 37s. I bought that spare, I should say that 37, not those 37s.
Yeah.
I don't get the
it's a South Park reference.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So I test fitted the 37 on the back of my Frontier last week, and it clearly fit because you don't have to turn a tire or do anything to get a 37 on the back of a truck. I don't have rear steer yet. So this week I focused on getting all the suspension put back together on the Frontier, which I needed the knuckle off of the Titan. So I took these couple pictures. I shared them in our group, and nobody really had anything to say, but you can see in these pictures, this is the upper ball joint on the upper control arm on both sides. There is supposed to be a castle nut. It's not a castle nut. And there's supposed to be a cotter key going through there, and there's no cotter key on either side for these ball joints.
Out?
It has. There was a 3/8 inch gap. There's a 3/8 inch. Well, this is on the Titan though, not on my truck.
Yeah.
This is on that Titan I bought, which had 58,000 miles. So somebody did something with the suspension. Yeah, Bubba says it looks real safe. Someone did something with the suspension on this Titan in the 58,000 miles that they owned it, and I don't know what they were doing, but I could move that up and down with my bare hands, just slopping that upper ball joint. It's crazy.
That's
So
okay.
I got
gravity keeps it in.
They probably lifted it and took the lift off and lost the castle nut and just threw on a whatever nut they could find.
yeah, maybe. I just don't know. It's pretty wild. So I got the Titan all pulled apart so I could get the knuckle off the Titan and then put the knuckle on the Frontier. Before I did that though, I mocked it up. I put the I had to swap the hub off of the knuckle, so I had to unbolt the hub, pound it out. Luckily it slides in, it's not a press fit, and got that all tightened down and put the new brake calipers, because the Titan brake calipers are too big. That year of brake calipers are too big, so I had to get a different year of Titan brake calipers. And in this picture you can see it easily clears the 17-inch wheels that I'll be running, that I got from Warren. So that's the good news. So then I bolted it up on the truck, threw the 37 up front so you can see the 37 on the front of the Frontier. Looks like it's got clearance, but this is at full droop. And then you turn the tire, and that tire, I had to force the tire to make a full lock to get it past the fender. I'd had to do a decent amount of cutting just at full droop. That's not even including stuffing the tire up in the wheel well. So I've decided to pull back from 37s and just do 35s.
Just get rid of the fenders.
Which is super sad.
That is super sad.
What's your caster set at? Are you at like a?
I put it all the way forward.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, could you have gotten a little bit more with some more caster? But it sounds like that. Yeah,
I agree with Bubba.
Nobody needs fenders.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a trashy off-road truck just to fit
You don't
stuff.
have to make it trash.
Sawzall,
I don't want to just like hack the fenders to make them fit. So I want it to be clean.
a lot of bond and some fiberglass. Look cool.
Honestly, 37s are really iffy with my gear ratio as well. And if 37s would have been too much of a dog, I'd have been really sad spending money on 37s and then having to put gears in my truck. My wife would have been extra mad. So yeah, Bubba,
right?
Bubba, it is a street legal truck. I want to drive it more than just off-road.
He just
wants now that the gas prices are coming back down.
Nobody needs a street legal truck.
He just wants to be able to drive it again at this point, I think.
That's very true. I haven't really driven it since our snow trip.
Well, hopefully you'll have tires for our snow trip this year.
I shot an email off. I'm see if I can get me some tires, and we'll figure that out.
I'm so excited for that trip.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just over a month away. It's like 5 weeks away.
Right. So. It's coming up quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Last thing I did this week was all that took place on Saturday. Shooting elk, gutting the elk, butchering it, putting it in the freezer, and then all that Nissan work was all Saturday. Sunday after church, I rented a U-Haul, and I got my uncle, the one I mentioned last week, I got him moved into a what do you call it? Like, it's not even call it an old people's home, but
assisted living.
Assisted living. There we go. Assisted living. Yeah, I got him moved into an assisted living place. That took all day Sunday to pack up his stuff on drive. It's an hour away, which is a big bummer. I won't get to see him as much, or I'll just try to drive farther to see him more. But so he's an hour away. Got him unpacked and moved in, and everybody was so friendly there. And I called him today, and he's making some new friends. And so I think this coming weekend we're going to go as a family. The people who run it, they're like, yeah, anytime you guys come out in the next 2 or 3 weeks, lunch or dinner or breakfast, whenever you're here, it's on us. Normally you have to pay to eat there. It's $7 a plate or whatever. But yeah, they're like, yeah, no, the first 2 or 3 weeks we want you to help him get
adjusted.
comfortable and stuff. Yeah, get adjusted. So yeah, we encourage you guys to come out. So we'll probably go out there next Sunday and spend some time with them out there.
So, Aaron, I'm looking on Fiber Works. They sell fiber fender glass fenders for your rig.
Yeah.
6-inch bulge, 2.5-inch rise.
Sounds like that's what you need to go with.
The first tree I touch with those things and they shatter.
I'll spot you. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
My bed tells me otherwise.
Yeah. And they don't come painted, so I'd have to paint them. And
We'll Raptor line them.
I don't want to be the guy who runs around with unpainted fiberglass fenders for 6 years on his
We'll
Ranger.
Raptor line them.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tires, Jeremy, you said you bought some tires, some smaller
did.
tires.
They're just sending an email. I actually bought some tires. So
Okay.
40s are too big. I bought myself some what are they? 25s.
Yeah. For the cross tour.
Yeah, for the cross track. Unfortunately, I couldn't talk my wife into even some all-terrains.
What?
She wanted all seasons back.
I'm
It almost
see,
paid me to purchase all seasons, but
it's hilarious because with my wife, if I say this is the tire to go with, she believes me with the fullest intent. Like she knows I've researched it and that it's the safest for our family.
Babe, these 40-inch tires for my 4Runner are the safest tires we can get.
No, I mean like the car, the van, like whatever we're driving.
I know.
I'm going for,
it wasn't a safety thing. It was she doesn't want it to look off-roady at all.
Are they? Do they at least have the 3-peak snowflake rating?
Yeah.
Okay, well
Okay.
at least you got that.
Okay, that's good.
But
That's the reason I would go an all-terrain tire with the Crosstrek is I would want something that's going to be great in the snow and ice.
yeah,
Yeah.
Granted, you're on the peninsula, you don't get it as much, but when you guys do get it, you really seem to get it.
and we live on a lot of hills.
Exactly.
Yeah, but all you got to do is slip that clutch. You just slip that clutch, it'll be great in the snow. Just slip the clutch.
Yeah,
Have your sister-in-law teach you how.
exactly. She's good at slipping clutches, burning them out. Yeah, so those go on this Sunday. It'll be nice to have new tires because the tires on ours are just the factory ones and they're terrible.
Man, you
Terrible.
guys just put like $8,000 into that car.
Pretty much, yeah. We put a lot into her car recently, which
Wow.
I feel like she never seems to realize how much money we're putting into her car, but she realizes how much we're putting into the Jeep.
Well, make sure you make that point.
Oh
no,
yeah.
I won't make
point.
that
It'll
point.
be
That
a
sounds
great-
like that's going to get me into a fight that I
You
don't
think
want to be in.
You think that'll backfire?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just keep crossing my fingers that the Jeep doesn't need anything other than wait. I'm not going to finish that sentence. Doesn't need any new fuzzy dice on the. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
There you go. Or a new winch line, those are expensive.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? Buy any tires recently? Or
No, I haven't.
tires?
Actually, I do need to get some tires for the minivan. Because
best
I was
used Craigslist tires you can find?
No, I'm gonna get small trains for it. Actually, I might have to if I don't hurry up and get the 4Runner fixed because I went to take the boys shooting up in the hills, and then to go play in the snow, and I didn't even make it out of the driveway. Unfortunately, we get everything loaded into the 4Runner. Everything loaded in the 4Runner, and I walk out and I hop in. I go to start the 4Runner. Click, 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 click. I'm like, oh crap, the battery's low. Throw the jumpers on it. Click, 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 click. So I'm like 99% sure that the starter died on me.
Are you sure it's the starter? Because I had that same issue with my Jeep, and were you just using one of the jump packs?
No, I was using the minivan. and I checked the voltage on the battery, and it's at 13 and a half.
Yeah, even if the voltage was fine on my battery on the Jeep, and it still wouldn't even start with the jump pack.
Well, what was your problem then?
The battery.
It's a brand new battery too.
Mine was like a year old. I got
Mine's not even that.
Okay. Well, I'm just
So-
saying you might just swap the battery in really quick and see if it fixes your problem, because it fixed
Yeah,
mine.
I could always. I'll throw the minivan battery in it tomorrow and test it. So that really sucked.
Not a bad idea before you go climbing underneath it.
Yeah. Well, the fun thing with my Forerunner is it's not even that easy. I have to jack up the side and go through the under between the frame rail and the inner fender to get it out.
All right, what's the over under on Ben making the snow trip?
Oh no, I leave for Montana next Wednesday, so I've got to...
What Ben, if you want some off-road tires, I'll sell you some all-terrains for your minivan. I've got some
Honda.
the Avalon, yeah. I've got some 15s. I think they're like 225 65 15s or something.
Oh, I might see what size.
Yeah, let me know. I'll make you a good deal. I'll make you a good deal.
Good deal.
I'll make you a good deal.
Awesome. So yeah, that was really disappointing because like I was so stoked. The wife and I had talked about it. I was like, I need to take the boys out shooting. The younger two boys haven't been shooting ever, and Henry hasn't been shooting in a while. So I got the 22 out. I was all ready to go, and I was a little depressed by that. We ended up going into Wilkeson and having dinner though that night. We had pizza. It was fun. And went to the soda shop. They got a wood-fired pizza place.
Did I tell you where the starter is on my Nissan Frontier, on my Nissan Frighten
channel?
Where?
It's in the V.
Oh, it's
between
just
the
like
cylinder
the
heads under the intake manifold.
Yep, just like the Tundras in the front.
Yeah,
Forerunners. Not fun.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna replace it before I did the engine swap, but I talked to a few people and they said that actually they've never heard of anybody replacing one ever, because up there it stays dry, it stays warm, it stays clean, and they seem to last a long time because of that. So fingers crossed.
Maybe it was a good engineering decision after all.
Yeah.
Until you
Well, there's some starters where they put it inside of the bell housing of the transmission. So you have to separate the transmission from the engine to install and remove a freaking starter.
But again,
mine's between the exhaust and the drive line. And the easiest way that people talk about doing it is to take out the take off the tire and go through the side and pull it out between the frame rail, and that you just have to like kind of rotate it around and do a wiggly jiggly out. It's only 4 bolts or four nuts in total to get it all out. Or 3. There's the wire, the 2 bolts that hold it in, and a clip for the harness. So it shouldn't be too hard. Should only take me a couple hours. I was gonna do it today, but it didn't get here till like 4:00. There's a podcast I had to do, so priorities.
Wow, I didn't know Wish shipped stuff that fast.
No, it was O'Reilly's. But I made a stop at AutoZone, and
did you get in the zone?
I was in the zone. I got a set of the KC Highlights wire hider. I've talked about these on the show before. I've got them on the Forerunner. Cool thing is, so you get this and 6 of these 3M strips here, and you attach it to like your windshield, up along the side of your windshield, and you can run like any wires that you have going up to your roof rack for like a light bar or whatever, and it leaves a nice clean install. They're normally like $20. That's the story of my life, Travis. Like my wife says, anytime I says it's only going to take a couple hours. So I told my wife,
maybe you should say it's only going to take you should say maybe it's only going to take a couple minutes, and then it'll only take a couple hours.
I told her it should only take me half the day.
You're only one broken bolt away from that being a 3-day
Oh,
process.
please no. Oh,
Yeah.
I'd probably just
Spray.
accidentally like.
I meant to tell you over the weekend that you should start spraying stuff down with some PB Blaster.
I did spray some PB Blaster under there.
Good.
I just jacked the wheel to the.
You just didn't know if he actually hit the pulse or not. He just sprayed it randomly underneath his rig.
Yep.
Fogged it.
Fogged
Well,
it.
that helps keep the rust off.
Yep. Hopefully not too much. I need whatever's holding my frame together. But yeah, I picked the wire hider. They're normally like $20. I picked it for $4 a pop. They're on clearance at AutoZone. So if you've got one near you and you're thinking of running anything on your roof, totally worth it. Especially at $4 a pop.
Yeah.
I got an extra one or extra two, I guess, because I already have one on the 4Runner, because I'm talking about doing one on the other side when I change up some of the lights. And then if I have to replace one, might as well have a spare. Or if I do something with the Jeep truck, might as well have extra parts, especially when it's that cheap.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much. That's been it. I'm so disappointed. I wanted to go shooting and stuff before we left for Montana. So
When do you leave for Montana?
next Wednesday.
Okay.
But I am going to in Enumclaw. There's a Jeep. My buddy Jason, he's doing like a no BS Jeep group, a toy drive thing that they do, a toy and food drive like we do or have done. So I'm gonna go to that. So I'll at least be able to drive the 4Runner.
Saturday is Coy's Fall Fest, quote unquote Fall Fest, which got postponed to Christmas Fest. His pumpkin spice extravaganza.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone to do Saturday night, drive all the way down here for his event.
I was thinking about it, but I've got some stuff I got to do, so I'm not gonna make it.
All right.
He's got to replace his
your
starter.
present finally.
Yeah, I'll get my present from him finally.
Even though I've seen you twice since then.
That's efficiency at its best.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, because I don't want to pay the post office, I'm gonna just give you your guys's in January when I see you at the snow trip.
I was thinking the same thing, actually.
I was thinking the same thing with Jeremy's patches.
No. I mailed you baklava. You should at least mail me.
And fudge, yeah.
And fudge. And
Oh,
cookies.
fudge.
Well, we get a contest to announce, right?
Again?
Last time we're
A
going to
new-
announce
It is the last time. You won't
Yeah.
hear us announce this ever again.
because next week is when we're actually reading these. And I'm not going to read the line that Ben wrote next, but all you need to do is you need to tell us what rig you would buy, how you would build it, and what you would use it for if you won a large sum of money. And I think there's a lottery getting pretty big again, which it was pretty big when we first announced this one. So you just need to send that to us through any of our social media or email it to us at offroadpodcast.com or offroadpodcast@gmail.com. And you could win. Aaron's holding them up. Some
Not one,
shackles, a pair,
but two. A pair of them.
yep.
They're Manile Epic. Manile. Manili. I think that's Spanish. Maybe it's French. I'm not sure.
Gotta keep it up in Canada.
Well, if they're French, of course you'll need them because you got stuck. You gave up. Someone else has got to take care of you.
I have a feeling this isn't what it's supposed to be, but apparently it's a noun that means second best.
Manille.
Yeah. Okay, it's French. Da-da-da. I don't know why. That's really weird.
Huh.
We're gonna have to
The
talk
second
to the
best.
marketing department.
It's the second best epic. Mark in the comments says mandatory to build what you describe if you win the lottery, and I second that.
I second that
Absolutely.
as well.
If you won the lottery, you have to buy what you suggested, and if we pick you to win, you have to send the shackles to the second place winner because you just won a bunch of money. You shouldn't get these shackles for free. You have to,
You don't need
and
free
you have to pay the shipping too.
And,
Because
and also, if
wealthy.
you win and you didn't win the shackles, if you win the Mega Millions or whatever it is, and you didn't win the shackles, you have to buy the rig that everybody else said they were going to buy.
You got to buy their rigs for them.
Yes,
Oh, that's going to get expensive.
that would get expensive pretty quick. But I mean, probably not. Hundreds.
It probably would hard. No, yeah,
No.
it wouldn't put a big dent in the Mega Millions, honestly. Well, I got some listener feedback. It's actually feedback to our listeners. It's not from our listeners. It's to our listeners. I'm a little bummed we don't have Tim on here tonight because this feedback is specifically for him. So I want to give a shout out to our buddy Tim. I saw that on Sunday, so he'll get to enjoy this when he listens to it when he's driving his semi truck one of these days in the upcoming weeks. So I saw on Sunday that our buddy Tim on Facebook was reading a book for the first time on Sunday to a live audience. So good job, Tim, on reading a book. We're so proud of you for being able to read a book.
It's very hard.
It's been too long.
Well, I think it may be his first.
Well, that's what I mean. It's been too long.
Yeah. Do the thing. We also want to thank Push the our button.
sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
Boing. There it is. This month's Patch of the Month. It is no other than Chris Kringle. And I described him last week. He is let's see here. He doesn't have a very happy face on him. And he's got a RPG on his back. He's got a Gucci Glock, a Kukuri knife, and he's got his load-bearing vest on. And I didn't notice it before, but his knuckles have a tattoo that says Xmas on them. That's pretty clever.
Nice.
Let's see if you can get that up in there. Get the knuckles. Oh, look at that. It's not on the patch. What? It's on the sticker, but not on the patch. That's why I didn't see it before. Here's the sticker.
Oh, it's probably the detail.
They couldn't do it. Yeah. I'm going to have to write to Jake and be like, I want my money back because the patch doesn't match the sticker.
You should, maybe it's rare. I'll have to check mine later.
Check your, no, I'm sure they use the same mold for all of them. So,
oh, well,
yeah,
you know,
shame. The Chinese?
No, Ryan Cross.
No, it's the Chinese. Oh, you know what I didn't notice until now? The jingle bells.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I figured you just left that out on purpose. I
just
noticed
that.
Something I noticed is the artwork card that you get with it. The ink is changed and improved.
It's you know what it reminds me of? You can't really see it in this picture, but it's a grayish glitter color. I don't want to call it silver. Maybe silver. But it's got like a glitter color to the card. And it reminds me of, what was that, 15 years ago? The
Pokemon cards?
No, the teenage girl book series that became a movie with the vampires and the werewolves out of Forks. Twilight, yeah, because apparently they had like a glitter skin to them.
Oh, I see. I was just thinking of like holographic Pokemon cards.
Gotcha. It would be cool if the artist proof became a holographic card. That'd be really neat.
You're cool. You get a rare one.
Yeah. Well, besides the patch of the month, make sure you guys reach out to us to get some of our patches. Here they are on Bed's Headliner, the Off-Road Podcast patch, and the Lumen Locker patch. And just so you know, if you have Lumen Lockers, you're going to want a wire mold like Ben was displaying earlier.
Yeah, because you don't want those lockers to melt your.
Yeah, you want to take good care of your wiring for your Lumen Lockers. So, yeah, make sure you reach out to us if you're looking for a patch. You know the thing. Send us a message. Send some money through PayPal. Ben pops it in the mail, or meet us up in person. Maybe I should bring some to Coy's Christmas party and sell them at his party.
There you go. I'm considering throwing them on like a couple of the patch groups, but then we might run out really quick and leave listeners without. So,
gotcha. Well, maybe you could say you've got X number of them, but not really the actual number.
Yeah, true enough. True enough.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
Just a reminder, Colby Valve also does these XL size ones for your tractors, backhoes, skid steers, hay balers, and more. So if you're a farmer, like I pretend to be, you should have one of these on your property.
Oh, it's a good thing you're married. Otherwise, I'd ask if you're on farmersonly.com.
I would be if I wasn't married. I'd be looking for a farmer girl.
Yep.
Alan says, what app do you guys use for comments? I never see any on Facebook. So, Alan, people follow us, or I shouldn't say follow. People watch us through YouTube, and they comment on YouTube. So usually there's a lot through YouTube. There will be some in the Facebook. So we see all the comments as a conglomeration, but most of them come through YouTube. So if you head over to YouTube and watch us live on YouTube, you'll see more comments there than you'll see through Facebook usually.
And they also come through we're on like 4 different Facebook postings.
Yeah.
So you might not be seeing them because you might be watching on Overland Radio or our Facebook group or the Firearms Radio Network page or our Facebook group.
Or our Facebook page, which is different than our Facebook group.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it gets broadcasted to 4 different Facebook places. So, yeah, we get the comments in from everywhere. We see all of them. You guys don't see them all. So.
Even if you were to go on the Bluebird Twitter, they're on there too.
Yeah, the Twitter bird. Well, our news this week, we got Jeep news.
Yes, we do have 2 YouTube streams going too.
Oh, yeah. Mark says 2 YouTube streams. Yep. We've got the Firearms Radio Network YouTube stream and the Off-Road Podcast YouTube stream. So, yeah, we like to cover all of our bases. So, Ben, you brought us this one. The Wrangler High Tide is returning for 2023. I'd never even heard of the High Tide.
They've got so many packages.
They really do. Yeah. So apparently they created this High Tide package in 2022 as a way to help people save money. It's based on the popular S trim. The Sport S trim. And the way it saves you money is because you don't have to get the Willys trim to get all of these features. And apparently if you get the Willys package, it's $1,400 extra to get the Willys package. And shame on me, I should have looked up what the Willys gave you compared to the Sport S trim. I'm not familiar enough with Wranglers to know. Glad you made it, Alan, to our YouTubes. Yeah, this is where the good comments are. Let's see here. So the Wrangler High Tide comes standard with the 3.6 Pentastar V6 and the e-torque mild hybrid technology and an 8-speed automatic. And when it's equipped with all of this package, it comes out at $51,540. So lots of monies, but there's a lot going on in this package. So it comes with what they're calling 35-inch tires. I say the 34-inch tires. They're 315/70/17s. It's like a 34.4-inch tire, and I'm gonna say you got to round that down. You can't round that up. And then it's also, I love my BFGs, but BFG is known for making undersized tire. So if it's a 34.4-inch tire and BFG is making it, it's probably more like a actual 34-inch tire, but they're calling it 35, and it's a KO2. So it comes with 35s, 17-inch beadlock capable wheels. The rear gate is reinforced, and the it has a tire relocation kit by Mopar, a jack spacer. I'm assuming they must give you a little chunk of something so that because your rig is taller, it allows you to jack it up, which I think is really clever. I've never heard of that before. And let's see here. Wheel flare extensions, 456 axle ratio, 1.5-inch suspension lift with uniquely tuned shocks. And then it says anti-lock 4-wheel disc performance brakes. Are they
upgraded disc brakes probably so that you stop better?
Yeah. Are they? Is it just a pad upgrade? Because I would expect them to say, well, they're bigger rotors if they're bigger rotors. So I wonder if it's just a pad upgrade or a pad and disc upgrade or something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah. It also has a body colored hard top, LED headlights, fog lights. It's got rock rails, a Sunraider flip top for your hard top, the Gorilla Glass windshield, which I don't know why they don't just make that standard across all of them. Sand and slush floor mats, and a high tide decal.
They probably make a lot of money on all the windshields they have to replace because just remembering my JK, I replaced the windshield twice in 5 years.
Whoa.
And how many engines did you replace?
One.
So maybe you don't treat your gear the best.
Well, no, like I had literally just replaced the windshield, drove all the way home from Montana, and was an exit away from my house, and the rock got kicked up by a semi truck and hit me like square in the windshield right where my face is and cracked it. So it was like, oh, got to replace
his face
because it's right in your vision.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. You say maybe they make money on it, but like aftermarket people are allowed to make windshields. It's not a proprietary thing. So
it's such a pain in the butt. It's a rock magnet.
Also, to be fair, they only charge $95 for the upgrade.
For the Gorilla Glass?
Yeah.
What in the world? Just do it on all of them. Josh in the comments says, Aaron, is that your rig engraved on the piece of wood behind you? I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah, that is my rig. Ben gave me this for Christmas 2 years ago. And that is my Frontier on the Alvord Desert here in southeastern Oregon, as part of our Nevada. No, this was a Nevada trip I did without anyone from the group. So
yeah. Back when you were cooler. And there's Jeremy's.
Yep. Jeremy has one, but his is a Jeep. So Josh doesn't care because it's not a Nissan.
Well, fine.
Well, we only got one news topic this week. We were going to do another one, but it was a really involved news topic. So we're going to save it for a future show topic instead. Yeah. So yeah, Josh, I love it too. And also, yeah, no one cares about Jeeps.
The
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
So this week on the show, we're going to be talking about all the things that Ben has done in his off-roading career.
Well, it's funny that you should say that. When I thought of this topic, I was like going through my brain. I'm like, okay, what has been done that is just easy right off the top to add to this list? Just boom, boom, boom. I can just throw these Ben things in here. So
You know what's funny is when I was working on show notes, I was like, all right, what have I done or have seen that
Mostly
would be
done.
this one? Because there's some things on here I'll talk about when we get to them that I have seen that are like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. And
Whoa.
you think it was common sense.
our comments are getting a little lit here with the Jeep hate. Josh,
I don't know if that's lit. That's just kind of two guys agreeing with each other.
that's three guys.
Three
guys.
But I was expecting.
I'm number four. I'm number 4, so that means there's 4 guys.
You know what?
I was expecting
I'll throw in another one for that.
we can share on the show. When I come back over to the comments.
Yeah. And Josh says I love all you guys, and it really is all out of fun. I don't hate Jeeps. I love to hate on Jeeps, but I don't hate Jeeps.
I
don't
to
hate
on
Toyota.
anyone else's rig for fun.
Yeah, it's just fun to clown on our friends. Like Ben messing with his Tundra buddy out in the dunes. I mean, it's another Toyota guy, and Ben's goofing around with that guy. So it's what we do.
And we don't hate Nissans, just almost nobody drives them.
Correct. It's very, very true.
Yeah, and then the few people that do drive them, there's even fewer of them that take them off road.
And the ones that do take them off road tend to blow up their airbags.
Yep, that's very true.
It is. There was a recall for that. Yeah. All right, back to the main topic. So our main topic was faux pas, off-roading mistakes.
Fox paws.
No, not fox paws. Faux pas.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Mark says
all the notes that Ben wrote.
Mark says he takes his Land Cruiser jeeping all the time. Yeah, exactly. Jeeping. The verb for four-wheeling that the world has created.
Yep.
Jeeping.
It's
nice Jeep. Eric's in the comments now finally. Eric, has anyone said nice Jeep to you, to your Xterra? So while we wait to hear back from Eric, let's go over this first one of the off-roading mistakes that people can make.
Should we talk what a faux pas is first?
I think most people know what a faux pas is.
Okay.
Did you pull it up in the dictionary?
I did not, but
okay. If you want to give the Webster dictionary version, Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Ben? But the first one, go ahead.
Act or remark in a social situation.
Say it again.
An embarrassing act or tactless act, or remark in a social situation.
Why is your picture on this definition?
I don't know. I am very tactless in social situations.
Yeah. All right. Well, so our first one is showing up with a mechanically failing rig. So a bunch of people are going wheeling. Hey, let's go trip. We got a trip. Let's go wheeling. And you show up on this wheeling trip and your vehicle is in poor shape. Like it's leaking. The tires are failing. It's got bad bushings. Yeah. Bad bearings, bad U-joints. It blows smoke. You might not, unless this is a Gambler 500 event, you might not want to go to an event if any of these things are happening to your rig.
Or on the last one, I mean, we'll still judge you for your choices, but if it's a diesel, then it can maybe blow some black smoke.
Oh shoot. Josh just said power steering is leaking. I totally forgot I have a power steering leak in my Nissan that I have to get fixed before our trip. Oh,
You can live without
man.
power steering.
No, like I won't make it a mile. If I fill it up completely full, I won't make it a mile.
Oh wow!
It comes out that
get that
fast.
fixed.
Oh, yeah, get that
Yeah.
fixed. Yeah.
Yikes. I was like, I'm on the downhill. I got the front part of my rig. Everything's put together. I just have to tighten it down, and then I just need tires. And I'm good. I'm good to go. I got to chase that power steering leak down. Yikes. Okay. Back on topic again. This one, Ben, why don't you take this next one? Because
It's kind of
Not-
related.
it's
Yeah.
related to the last one. I'm not saying it's related to you. I'm just saying it's related to the topic,
Yep.
to the last topic.
Well, I mean, if you're watching the video feed, you saw my hand up every time something I've done that's been on there. So, not performing preventative maintenance. Well, you can slow down the trip because if you break and then you have to fix it, which would potentially throw off timelines. Because if you're trying to get somewhere by a certain time, say you're on a longer trip, and then the risk of catastrophic failures when it could have just been fixed at home. For instance, having a bad U joint and then and knowing that you have it because you have like a small vibration, and then or you didn't lube it, and then it fails and explodes and takes out your transfer case, your muffler, all sorts of things that could go boom with a driveline break-in free. So yeah, very easy, could easily be prevented. Very faux pas.
Yep. Next one on the list is going alone, especially when no one knows where you're going. And you have no communication device to help you once you get stuck or broke or whatever it is. And it can definitely delay how quickly help can get to you. If A, no one knows where you're going, B, you can't communicate while you're there. And if you have a medical emergency, it could be life-threatening.
Yeah, it would suck to die alone. It's been talked about on this show and a few others where that couple, they took an alternative route and they died out in the woods or the husband died out in the woods.
Well, the husband walked to get help and then died, and they found them very shortly after he left or something.
all because they didn't say which way they were going and all that. So like laying out that plan, really easy.
Didn't they also go behind a gate that was closed or supposed to be closed?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been at least 7 years. I'm going to take this next one because I've got experience with this one, and it's not me. But no recovery gear. No, I've been to situations where to help people where they've gone and they don't have any recovery gear. Well, obviously, if you go with no recovery gear, you can't really get yourself unstuck. You see them shoving their floor mats and sticks underneath their tires trying to get out. You could potentially lose your rig. You could potentially lose your rig if, for instance, you're on a cliff edge and you have no way to kind of tie it off in a recovery situation while you wait for help to get there. And then you risk the life of your passengers and yourself if the weather turns bad. And then who was that in the comments? That was Alan, right?
Yeah.
And he says he knows it's unpopular opinion to go alone to test your judgment and survival skills. It's not for everyone, though.
And Mark says he completely agrees with that as well. And honestly, Jeremy's gone alone, Ben's gone alone, I've got alone. We've all done it, and we'll probably continue to do it. But
there's things you can do to mitigate that. Telling someone where
Absolutely.
you're going, having a plan.
Yep.
having a timeline, all those things mitigate your risk so that then
having
going along,
having recovery gear,
having
having
recovery gear,
having a mechanically sound vehicle.
yeah,
Maybe not trying that super big obstacle in the middle of nowhere where there's nobody else with you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's something that I kind of we miss with going alone. Why I put medical emergency? If your rig flips and you're underneath it, and you have no way to reach that communication device that you may have, you could risk dying.
Nobody wants to be, what is it, 55 Doward, or what was that movie?
48 hours, or the one where his hands stuck.
More than 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
don't drive into ditches.
So yeah, you can mitigate those to where, there you go, 127 hours. And you can really mitigate those risks by taking care of the other things in there.
Yeah. The next one would be not having supplies if you break down. So what I'm thinking on this one is, like, if you did have to spend the night in the woods, you want to have a blanket and maybe some water. I believe that everyone should just be carrying this in their rig, even if they're not going to the woods. So blanket, some water, some protein granola bars, just stuff like that. A hunting rifle so you can kill an elk and gut it and clean it and cook it up. A barbecue, just those basic necessities, those supplies. I'm kidding on the last couple, but yeah, you really should have some emergency supplies in your rig that can sustain you if you have to stay somewhere overnight.
Yeah, and you never know. It could be as simple as a windstorm blows through unexpectedly and knocks down a few trees, and it's going to take you a little bit longer to get out than expected because you might have to go a different way.
I mean, look at those people in Atlanta like 3 years ago where they had a freak snowstorm that laid down 1 inch of snow all around town, and it clogged the freeways and people couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So Josh mentions a fire extinguisher. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Jeremy, you got this next one.
Don't drive like a jackwagon.
Man, Aaron,
What?
that.
That's an off-road faux pas. I can't drive like a jackwagon.
No.
What about like getting air on like the Wobder or something like that? Is that okay? Like jumping your rig? Because I'm with somebody else. Can I jump my rig if I'm with somebody else?
I mean, I wouldn't do that just because you don't want to unnecessarily break your rig.
Yeah, just don't do that on purpose. Accident, it happens.
Don't accidentally do it either. Just don't do it.
The comment section wants us to define jackwagon. So,
well, I would also say don't take your rig down a bunch of roads that you probably shouldn't and hit some mud puddles that you probably shouldn't because you don't have any, have the right tires and get yourself stuck. Don't get Googled. I'd throw that in the
Is that driving like a jackwagon, following Google when you're not equipped in an off-road vehicle heading to hang out with people in the middle of the desert?
It's obvious you're going down a Forest Service road and you're in a semi truck and you start going up a gravel hill. That's kind of.
I was making fun of Eric here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, I was following along.
Yeah. Ben wasn't on that, so he wouldn't know.
Oh, that's true. So driving like a jackwagon to me would be like hot dogging and showing off for all these people. And we've all seen the videos where someone is, because they're having too much fun, they're not paying attention, and they can become dangerous where they lose control. They'll roll their rig. They'll smash into someone else's rig, stuff like that. So absolutely have fun. Do a little bit of hot dogging, smash the front end of your rig into some dunes as you're trying to go up really fast. Do those kind of things.
Set off your airbags.
Set off those airbags. Do what you got to do.
Try not passing people on a single lane Forest Service road with a bunch of other people because you are impatient, and try passing everyone and kind of pushing people off the trail.
That would be driving like a jackwagon. Absolutely.
That totally killed that.
Yeah. That happened to us on the Gambler 500. Yeah. All right. The next one here is not having a first aid kit. So we preach this one all the time. You got to have something to take care of an emergency because it might not be you that drove like a jackwagon, but somebody else did, and now we got to treat some people because they got injured, they got smashed into, all kinds of stuff. Wow, Josh says he has a Frontier without the side airbag option. I didn't know that that was even an option.
Well,
So,
it sounds like we found our new Frontier guy for the show.
yeah,
This will truly be running longer.
yeah. I was a Frontier owner without a side airbag option for a while as well.
Also, without a expandable seatbelt option.
That's true. Yeah, my seatbelt only had one length. So Mark says in training on how to use a first aid. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. I'm a firm believer in training on everything. So
Even if you don't have the training, though, if someone else is there that knows how to use the supplies, is handy.
Yeah, but don't.
I don't rely on that, and
Well,
I think
definitely
people can
don't
get
rely on
lulled. I think people can get lulled into a false sense of security,
Yeah.
thinking, oh well, someone else will know how to use this Band-Aid because I don't.
And don't forget, Skitty Medic, when offered the choice of having the training and not the gear, or the gear and not the training, he chose the training, not the gear.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather have the training.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and not having the gear, I mean, it could, and just say it's something simple like a Band-Aid because you cut your hand with a stick. Not having some antibacterial spray and a spray to clean your hand, and you use something like a dirty shirt or rag, then it gets infected. You're only making it worse.
Mm-hmm. And you get in the hot tub with all those bacteria in the hot tub, and you get sepsis or whatever that's called, and
Oh, I remember
they
a
threaten to
burn
cut your
victim.
finger. They threaten to cut your finger off.
Yeah.
So
This next one's
we're full of good examples.
yes, we are full of good examples. This next one's a pretty interesting one. Is not airing down.
How is that a faux pas, Ben?
Well,
How
you
can that?
get stuck because of it,
Okay.
and you're like, oh no. Um, it's a whole lot less comfortable. So I mean, your back's going to be sore, and then you're going to be complaining at camp because your back is sore.
Yeah, you'll be grumpy. That's true.
Rigging is less capable. But a note with that is make sure that you have a way to air back up, because a bonus faux pas is you can cup your tires if you don't, and then your tires are bad, and then they rumble and shake and vibrate.
Yeah. Yep, you want to be able to air back up. If you air down, you want to be able to air back up. And maybe you don't have a compressor, but that's part of going out with people. You can borrow
Again,
somebody's
not going
a few
alone.
times.
Have a buddy that has an air compressor. They'll gladly air you up, or at least make you suffer while they wait for you to air up.
Yeah.
And then they'll subtle flex on you and start airing up your tires when you're still one tire in.
Yeah, I've done that a few times.
All right. The next one is building too big of a rig for your first rig.
Not buying too big of a rig.
That's what I meant to say, not building.
Well,
Buying too
or
big of a rig.
building. I mean, you could also do it as you bought a rig, you built it out way too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how I see this, and I'm going to throw those side by side owners under the bus right now, because this is a perfect example. Those things are so capable because they're lightweight. They've got great suspension. They've got more than enough horsepower. They've got plenty of ground clearance. You can do a whole lot with a stock side by side. The same thing would be if you won that Mega Millions and you built that Jeep on 42s with portal axles and whatever, and you did the V8 swap, and now you got all the horsepower, and you've never been wheeling before, and you take this monster out there, you're going to make some huge mistakes. So as they say, you're going to learn.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of thankful for being poor. Is
It's true. No, it's true.
it really makes you humble as you start off with a stock rig.
Mhm.
And because I don't have all the money for all the things I want right away, I learn my rig and its limits early on, so that then as I build it up, it's like, oh, let's see if I can push it and go past this limit. And instead of doing a slightly larger rock, it's or a huge rock, it's a slightly larger rock. And it's like, okay, I can make it over that. Okay, I can make it over the next size bigger, or this. It's like this last snow trip. It was like, okay, I can make it all the way to camp without getting stuck, because I can
I'll
air
leave everybody behind.
everybody.
In Ben's defense, I did tell him just keep going.
He did. I'm glad you admit that a year later.
I admitted that then.
Oh, okay.
Next on the list is not knowing what type of radio your group or the people you normally wheel with run. So are they running ham? Are they running GMRS? Are they running CB? Are they running FRS? If you have no idea what any of those are, talk to your wheeling buddies and see what they're running, and then figure it out from there.
And we actually have an episode quite a ways back about these 4 different types of radios. So maybe we'll do it another one this upcoming year.
I don't know if somebody wanted to introduce the next one and then I just talk about it.
Sure, all introducing it. Not using your low gears, because I'm difficult. I'm guilty of this as well.
Well, I mean, it's not only just the gears in your transfer case, but it's also the gears in your transmission. So one time I was out at one of the group meetup runs at Tahuya. Somebody gave a gal some really bad advice that I didn't hear about until afterwards, when I could smell her clutch smoking. Was he told her that she should be in second gear pretty much the whole time while wheeling.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she probably ruined that clutch in an almost brand new JL.
Ouch.
So when in doubt, go with the lowest gear you have. Obviously, if you're doing some high speed stuff, yeah, you can come out of the low gears, but put the transfer case in low. Even when you're climbing up hills,
that's just awful.
Yeah, it was terrible advice. And yeah, so keep that transfer case in low, even if you're climbing up. Especially when you're climbing up like Forest Service roads. Sometimes you might, if they're really steep, you might need low gearing just so you keep that transmission temperature down.
One of my favorite advices that I've heard with that is some that Aaron gave to Eric on our Nevada trip is if you go up an obstacle, and he said it with his locker, if you go up it with your lockers on, and it would be the same with the gearing, you should be going down it with that same as well.
Shout out to Rick for giving him that advice when Aaron almost ran into the back, or when Aaron did rear end me in my Jeep.
Yep. What a jack wagon.
Yeah. Is that defined as driving like a jack wagon?
Yeah, the guy who parked his Jeep at the bottom of the hill.
Well, I figured out how long it took me to stop and then added like 200 feet. So I figured I'd.
Yeah. No, I really botched going down that hill. I'll admit it.
Well, and I remember from the video, I said, watch out for that drop. And then he went off the drop, and that's when it spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up.
This next one, very near and dear to our hearts, well, our camps, is not treading lightly. And that's stuff like pooping in camp, because that's like literally where you're staying. Nobody wants to smell that. It's leaving trash on the trail, on the forest. Like, we go camp. like you want to be able to return to that spot. And if the Forest Service comes out there and they see a spot's trash constantly, they're going to put a gate up. And
Yep.
as much as I would love to cut down every gate with a plasma torch or an oxyacetylene torch or my angle grinder and just toss them into a ravine, there's times I'm like, oh, I kind of understand why you're doing it, because everyone's trashing it. I want my kids to be able to go experience the same places that I do. I love going to places that my grandpa took me. And I'd love for my kids to experience that too. Also, not using a tree saver falls into that same that tree. You put a cable around it, you pull it tight, it's going to ruin the bark and slowly kill that tree, and then that tree's not there anymore.
Yeah,
and
that
again,
would definitely be treading lightly or driving around obstacles instead of going over obstacles. If your vehicle can't make it over the obstacle, it's too tough of a trail. Yeah.
Yep. If you're making new trails, again, they will close down trails and gate them off because you decided you couldn't make it over something, yet there's a gatekeeper to say that you could.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ben, I think this one was put in here for you.
Yes,
water
it is.
crossings. Water crossings.
I've done this a few times, and going too fast through water.
Yeah.
I've lost an engine because of that, hydrolocking it. I almost hydrolocked a second vehicle.
What?
Forerunner.
Okay, I've done it a few times here. I've gone too fast through water. I don't know what it is about water, me and rigs, but yeah, going too fast through them, it's bad. Not knowing your depths, you're throwing cool water onto hot metal. That's bad for metal. It's bad for your diffs.
It can. I've heard that it can actually smash your radiator too. Like it can just the water can hammer against your radiator and damage your radiator. I've not seen it. It might be an internet myth. I don't know.
If it doesn't hammer into your radio, the one thing it will hammer is that water is definitely not clean, and it's gonna throw mud in there, and that mud's gonna cake up and build up over time, and then your radiator's not gonna breathe, and then you have to replace your radiator. Mark says bolt on a snorkel and you'll be fine.
That's not what he wrote.
That's
not what he wrote. That's not what he wrote. He called it a dorkle.
He called it a dorkle. Yeah. But snorkels don't really fix water crossings. There's a whole lot more waterproofing you got to do before your Dante peaks through water. Snorkel.
Well, like if you have a sealed air box and a snorkel, if your air box is sealed and a snorkel, you can't hydrolock your engine. How about that?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And then,
Ben, it still could come in through the snorkel.
If you went up that high, yes, or splashed it in that high, yes.
Yeah.
Ben, you just shared a video, and I don't know, I can't remember where you shared it, if it was just in a private group, but of that Land Rover, the Land Rover Defender. Okay, good. Yeah, so if you go to our Facebook page, there's a Land Rover Defender that absolutely hammers this flooded street. Not even a water crossing. It's a flooded street, and it's just so wonderful. That's the guy earlier where we talked about buying a rig that is too big of a build for your first rig. I mean, it wasn't really built or anything, but that guy just had more money than brains.
Yeah, and that was a nice rig that now he's got to replace an engine in.
Yep. Probably not a cheap one.
It's European, so yeah, no.
The next one is putting suspect parts or tires on your vehicle. So,
who would put
you're
in their vehicle?
So buying poor quality stuff, like cheap stuff off a Wish, or let's say you got some used parts and you're like, I got a set of used coilovers from somebody. They said they need to be rebuilt, but I'm putting them on anyways. Or maybe you got some tires that looked great, but you don't know how to read a date code. You might want to learn how to read a date code, because it turns out they're 14 years old.
Yeah.
and they're from Arizona. I mean,
And
the little old lady just drove that Jeep to church on Sundays and groceries on Wednesdays and to get her haircut once a month. But those tires were in Arizona for 14 years. They've got lots of tread, but they explode on you the first trip you take them out on.
Guilty. Yeah. And again, with those is you can have catastrophic failure with those, which is really bad, extremely bad, because it's like that blown tire now takes out your fender or
Or it rolls your truck. What if you're
rolls
doing,
your truck,
what if
yeah.
you're in the middle of an obstacle and you roll your rig because of it?
I've been very fortunate that when I've lost a tire, it's been a back tire. Right?
Yeah, I don't
Both
think
of
I've
those
ever
back
lost. Yeah, I
I
think so. I don't think I've ever lost a front tire.
I know when I was with Jeremy and lost a tire, it was a back tire. And when I was with you, Aaron, it was a back tire. So I've been very
Yeah.
lucky that it wasn't a steering tire, because that could have been pretty scary.
Okay, when Ben said lost a tire, I thought he meant like tire came off.
No.
And I was going to say, I never lost a tire.
No. I just catastrophically exploded into dust.
It wasn't into dust.
Yeah, it blew up.
Jeremy, your kid's like listening to you talk, but not hearing anybody. He's like, what is this guy doing? He's just talking to himself.
I know.
Crazy.
He probably thinks I'm crazy right now.
He has no idea.
Something also with those suspect parts is there are simulation parts. So I'll call a factory skid plate a simulation part, because that's not going to stop you from putting your rig on a rock and damaging your engine, right?
Mine have.
Okay, yours have. They would, a factory Toyota one would not. There are also there are imitation sliders out there, so they are not thick tube. So when you go to slide on something, they crush, and then they crush into your vehicle. I happen to have a friend that had a simulation slider. Didn't realize it until he looked at the fine print on the website. So when you're buying those parts, look at the details and make sure that
You
it's
get what you pay for.
you get what you pay. No, he actually paid really good money for them too.
Really?
What?
What
Yeah.
brand? Call him out.
I don't know. I'd have to look back. I'll message him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing on the list here is only going to Rigs and Coffee. We're not saying you can't go to Rigs and Coffee, but if that's the amount of off-roading you do is to go to Rigs and Coffee, that's kind of a faux pas.
Yeah, it's, if you build this rig, you use it, go out. I mean, even if you don't have a built rig, which is something that can really fit into this too, is you can do a lot with a stock rig and learn about it. You can hit a Forest Service road. You could even go probably like to places like Tahuya, where they have beginner areas, though it's getting harder now, I hear. So there's ways to test your limits, and not going alone, going with a group that know what the limits look like, as long as they're educated and smart. Right? It's going to help you.
Yes.
Just make sure it's, the old grumpy guy that's giving you the advice, because it'll probably be the right advice, not the younger guy. It's like, oh yeah, go ahead and keep it in second the entire time. When your clutch comes
Hammer
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the last one here on the list, probably the biggest faux pas you could make. We saved the biggest one for last, and that would be not having an off-road podcast patch on your headliner.
That's just
Is
not
it
cool.
is it more or less of a faux pas if you don't even have a headliner?
No, I think that everyone should be required to have this patch, whether they have a headliner or not. Find a spot to put it.
Well,
It's very
as soon
important.
as Ben nails it to me, I'll have it.
Yeah, you're in faux pas land right now, Jeremy.
Yeah. Just one big faux pas right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ben's been more in faux pas land, so I think that's okay.
I am the faux pas. I'm the walking faux pas.
The
I
faux
have to-
pas jackpot.
I have to educate others by my failures.
By example.
Yep.
Normally you learn by example, but hey, I don't judge
I'm
your
learning by my own example.
You know what?
Ooh.
Lifeline, which is Alan. Alan just posted, and this is actually seriously the biggest faux pas ever, and that is drinking and wheeling. None of us on this podcast condone it. We don't like to wheel with people who do this, and we'll absolutely speak out about it. Drinking and wheeling is a big no-no. Save it for when you get to camp. Have a lot of fun at camp. Get hammered so that you can't make it to your trailer and you wake up in the grass in the morning, or if you're like our buddy Aaron Kravick, who's on the floor in his in his camper screaming out some random person's name in the middle of the night.
Oh no,
'Cause
he's
he's so
walking around
drunk.
camp screaming for him.
Okay.
Or-
And then throwing up out the window. You know what?
Yeah,
You do you as long as you're not drinking and driving, because it's the same thing as driving on the highway. You're intoxicated, you're impaired. That's when you make poor choices. Do
And
not
you're
drink and drive.
a risk for others and yourself, and addedly the trail then too, because if the rangers see here,
Mhm.
you know, you die on the trail, now that trail's getting closed down because too many people are drinking and driving on that trail.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot. Some of these trails are actual roads. So if you get caught drinking and driving on these trails, it's you'll get the same penalties as driving on the road.
Yep.
Bad deal.
Bad deal. Well,
Yep.
thanks to everyone who listens to us weekly and those who watch us live on YouTube. We really appreciate you. And share us with our friends. Help us grow. Or join us here in the comments. We really love that. I get a kick out of all the interactions we have. It feels so much better seeing stuff like this, commenting with you guys here in the comments. I really love it because it's like, hey, there are people actually listening to us out there. I can see you download the show, but it really means something more when I see you responding back. And on top of that, God bless America, and we'll see you next week.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve to see all their great gear. We're a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a comment or question? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.net or through our social media channels by searching for Offroad Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe, and courteous. Thanks for listening.
You know, I totally forgot to mention during the show our no countdown stuff before the show. If you guys are still listening somehow, send in a picture, and the next time I redo the pictures for it, I'll throw yours in. If I have more than 10 sent in, then maybe I'll do a contest of who goes in on our group.
Sounds good.